Hey, aspiring singers, bedroom producers, music producers, and other dreamers alike. My name's Mandy, and I'm here to show you that music is not one path, it's yours to build. If you watched my last video, I touched briefly on the 5 pieces of essential gear that I felt it would be necessary to have, or a really good idea to have, in order to start recording vocals today. So in today's video, I'm gonna go into detail about the first piece of gear, and I'll have several videos to follow that will touch on all of them. So we're gonna get right into it. Please remember to like this video if you find it valuable, and consider subscribing. Okay, let's dive in. The first piece of gear that I think is really helpful, sort of necessary to have in order to start recording vocals today, is a device. This can be a computer, a laptop, an iPad or other tablet, or your smartphone. And on that device, we're gonna download something called a digital audio workstation, or otherwise known as a DAW. This is what you're going to be recording your vocals into. Whether you're cutting demos or producing tracks, you can think of this setup as your creative hub. You can also think of it as the brain of your studio setup. Your DAW is going to process, store, and organize your vocals and your music. Here's what to focus on when choosing one. I'm sure you probably all have some kind of a device. If not a computer, not a laptop, not an iPad or tablet, you probably most definitely have a smartphone. And this is totally your preference. I'm someone who really likes to work on a laptop or a desktop when I am recording vocals, but there is so much out there that I've really been kind of delving into doing a little bit on my phone and tablet, and it's been really fun. But I'll get into that in later videos. So depending on your preference, you can use your smartphone, or you can use a device that you already have. And if you don't already have one, here are some things to look for when choosing a device. There are 3 main things that you kind of want to just look at when you're browsing the specs of each device: RAM, CPU, and storage. RAM is your device's short-term memory, and this is basically just gonna juggle all the tasks while you're recording. For recording vocals, 8 gigabytes is the minimum you really want to look for. If there's anything smaller like 4 gigabytes, you are better off in terms of the processing and things kind of working smoothly if you go with a minimum of 8 gigabytes. 16 is better, but we're all doing this on a budget, right? We're all trying to do something that's affordable and easy for us to do. So if you can do 16 gigabytes, if you know you're gonna grow into vocal production and music production, or you just kind of know that your future goal is to have a more robust setup, then go ahead and execute the 16 if you have it. If you don't, 8 is completely fine and it will work beautifully, trust me. The CPU has been explained to me like it's an engine. So it's revving up and doing real-time audio processing while you're in the middle of recording vocals. When it comes to the CPU, you want to look out for a multi-core processor. So for example, something like an Intel 5, or for Apple products, M1 or better. And the reason is because it's gonna help with glitches, and sometimes you can get like a disk overload if you don't have enough CPU. And it's happened to me plenty of times, so I know the pain and I know the feeling. So the good news is that most devices these days, that multi-core processing comes pretty standard, unless you have something like a student computer or tablet, but you just wanna look out for that multi-core processor. If you see those 3 buzzwords, you're golden. And the third thing is storage. I'm not gonna get too much into storage right now because I am going to go a little further into detail with another piece of gear down the line that really helps take the burden off of storing things on your computer. But we're talking internal storage in this case. And because of that other piece of gear, you don't have to have the absolute, mega storage, because you're gonna have that external to help you later. But I wouldn't recommend getting the very minimum if possible. And I think most computers, you kind of wanna look for 500 gigabytes. A lot of them give you the options of 500 or a terabyte, perfectly fine. You just wanna find that the storage isn't the absolute minimum if possible. Anything above that is going to work better. So I'd recommend 500 gigabytes, a terabyte, but don't stress it because that external hard drive is gonna save the day. And a bonus tip, if you're shopping for a new device, definitely look for one with a USB port and several different kinds of ports. They always change them. It's sort of annoying because when they do change them, you have to get adapters, but let's not even go there. But a USB port is pretty standard. This is really gonna help you out with another piece of gear, an audio interface, some USB plug-in microphones. I mean, they're really gonna help you out. So that begs the question, Apple or Windows? or if you're on a smartphone, Apple or Android. Macs tend to be the music industry favorite. There are a lot of independent artists, bedroom producers, other music producers who really favor Apple products over something like a Windows or other PCs. But I'll tell you a little more about it. Macs are stable, they are very user-friendly, and they're fully optimized for digital audio workstations that are flagship products of Apple. So programs like GarageBand and Logic Pro. Now, when it comes to iPads or your smartphone, obviously it's portable, right? But the mobile apps are very well integrated and just as robust as something that's on your desktop or your laptop. So it's safe to say that Macs are very reliable and they last a really long time. The drawbacks, Apple products are generally more expensive, so there aren't as many budget-friendly options. But if you're an Apple person, you've already made your choice. And if you are new to Apple, but you really want to learn and you want it to be very clear and very easy, it's a great way to go. Now, for all of my Windows, PC, and other Android folks, hello. Windows has a lot of more affordable options like Dell and Lenovo laptops, and these devices support every DAW. There's Audacity, there's Reaper, not to mention other online DAWs like BandLab, which is super popular these days. So the pros, they are super affordable, they are customizable, but the drawback is that it could require a little more setup, especially to avoid issues like latency. Now, when it comes to your Androids, BandLab that I talked about is perfect. Also very user-friendly. The drawbacks when you're using things on your phone is you have limited space and so limited processing. My personal choice is Apple. I've used Apple for a long time. I find it very easy to use. It's really not a crazy learning curve. And there's so many different resources that help walk you through everything that I found, free resources on the internet. Here's the deal with Apple. I used my Apple MacBook Air for just about 15 years with no issue. And I still have that today and it still works beautifully. The only thing that happens is after a certain amount of years, the operating system on Apple no longer supports, it only supports up to a certain operating system. So if I purchased my laptop in 2013, it basically stopped recognizing those updates this year. So I had to upgrade this year, but I got 15 years out of it, which is pretty great. For my DAW of choice, which is Logic Pro, it no longer supported the updates within that DAW. So I had to upgrade. But 15 years to me is a long time, so I feel like it was worth the investment. So that's my personal opinion. But I do know others who swear by using a PC. They definitely like other DAWs. So I'll kind of list the other DAWs on the screen. I know I listed a few, but here are some more. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, some of them are affordably priced where it's a one-time thing, some of them are subscriptions. So my official opinion is to lean toward Apple for all of the reasons that I personally mentioned. Also the ease of plug and play, which is just the setup is not difficult. You can just plug a lot of things in and Apple will recognize what you're plugging in, which makes it really nice. But if you absolutely hate Apple, that's cool. If you're gonna choose a Windows option, look for those right specs. Okay, so I've used the term digital audio workstation a million times, okay? And that's just a vocabulary word that I would get comfortable with if you're recording. And I'm never gonna assume that somebody watches this video and knows exactly what I am talking about, so I'm gonna break it down. A digital audio workstation is where you're gonna record, where you're going to edit your vocals, where you can put what's called processing, or it's just a fancy way of saying effects on your vocals and on your music. So just in case you have never heard of what it is or what it does, that's what you're gonna use it for. So let's talk about the free DAWs. GarageBand comes right on any Apple product that you have. It's very, very beginner friendly. There are little help tools that show you they explain to you how everything works. I also like that GarageBand has presets, and they're really good presets too. And I'll talk a little bit more about presets in the future, but just know at the click of a button, you can have something that's kind of already been pre-picked for you with all these different vocal effects for you to try out and see and pick out what you like in your voice on that preset. So it's also really, really good options. The presets are not little rinkety-dinkety. They're actually very impressive. So GarageBand is free for Apple. When it comes to Windows, the free DAW of choice there for most people is Audacity. Audacity is very nice. It is really, really great for simple edits. So if you are laying down vocals and you don't need to have any vocal effects, you don't want to play around with anything, you just want your raw, dry vocal in there, it's a perfect DAW to start with. Very easy to use. It does have limited production, but in terms of simple edits with vocals in particular, it's absolutely perfect. And the third option is online based, or cloud based, I should say. So you can literally use this with any device. It's a really great option and it's gained so much popularity, and I'm having a lot of fun playing around with BandLab. The other perk to BandLab is that you can collaborate remotely. So I'll talk more about that in a future video. But all three of those are great free options. Then you have your trial options so they're all paid, but you can do free trials to see if you like them. Reaper is one that offers a 60-day trial. And then after that, it's still super affordable. It's $60 a one-time purchase. There's also Ableton Live. You can usually try Ableton Lite, or you can try the trial of Ableton. So then you have some other DAWs that are just a little more expensive, like Studio One. There's Logic, where you can pay one time, which is $200. And then there's subscriptions. There's Pro Tools, which has been a long time industry standard, which has a subscription that offers a $10 a month fee. And the online DAW that I talked about, BandLab, also offers a subscription, as well as another DAW called Soundtrap. So I want to leave you with just a few extra tips. Invest in a quiet space, and don't underestimate a good heavy blanket or a well-stuffed closet. They work wonders. And don't sleep on getting in that digital audio workstation. Open it up and play around. Spend a few minutes a day just getting comfortable and learning the basics. YouTube has a ton of videos on just the very, very beginning parts of getting started in nearly every DAW. And I'll probably put some up too in the future. Start small, experiment, and let your voice shine. As a session vocalist, I use my DAW nearly every day to record my vocals and send them out to clients to help elevate their tracks from all over the world. A solid device and a digital audio workstation are your first steps in order to record vocals starting today. That's it, guys, we did it. Before you go, drop a comment of the DAW that you plan to use. I'll see you next time.